Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Product Coffee. All right, so we got a great session lined up today. We have got a virtual studio packed full of guests, and we're going to kick off talking about with our first cup today. We're going to talk about David Pereira's LinkedIn post. If you don't follow David on LinkedIn, he's a great follow. He's also just a great on Substack and Medium as well. But he is the author of Untrapping Product Teams. We've had him. He's been a guest on Product Coffee a couple times. He ran a workshop called Crafting a Product Strategy that Works with us a little while ago. Well, he wrote a post this week called, we can best call it Product Management is Dead and Agile is Dead. And essentially, he's stirring the pot up again with a really provocative post about whether product management and Agile have lost their edge. So we're going to unpack the heat and talk about what's really going on. So let's get into it and introduce our panelists. First up today, we have the maestro of product management processes, and he is strumming my product pain with his fingers. Here's Steve Johnson, the CEO of Product Growth Leaders. Welcome to Steve. And next...
Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Welcome. Next, he doesn't need gadgets, just product sense, empathy, and a vision for data that drives real change. Say hello to James Bond, Senior Data Strategist at Edward Jones. And yes, that is his real name. Welcome, James. Good to see you. Next up, meet Jerry Odenwelder, C Prime's product coach and product coffee panelist, who channels his inner Blofeld stroking his lap cat while dropping agile wisdom with a side of sarcasm. Welcome back, Jerry. We don't have the cat this morning.
No, the cat's not here today. I don't know where she is. She'll come around.
Oh, yes, she will. And she's graced stages from musicals to the Disney Channel, and now she's hitting ours quickly. Welcome, Teresa Kane, product luminary, design sprint sorceress, and co-author of Next Gen Product Management. Welcome back, Teresa.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone.
You bet. And I'm Jason Brett. I'm not cool enough to have an MC introduce me. So let's just jump into the conversation here today. Teresa, I'm going to start with you because I know you have to jump here in a few minutes, but I really wanted your take on this. But first, I want to ask you, what is a common misconception about modern product management that drives you nuts?
You know, it's funny. I got into a conversation with one of my fellow co-authors, Dr. Bart Jaworski. I think, you guys have probably heard him in the product space.
Dr. Bart.
And what we were talking about, he ended up doing a post about it, was the misconception that product managers are project managers. And, that really is something that has gotten up my skin for the 20 years I've been in product management. They're completely different roles. And I think what's really happened over the years, in my experience through it, is product manager roles have really been decompartmentalized. And so, back in the day, we didn't have UX researchers and large UX teams and design teams and project managers and scrum masters and product owners and business analysts. I could go on. There were just product manager roles. And now there are all these other roles that are supporting product managers. And sometimes those functions can be lost at organizations that don't have the resources and funding to really focus on what true product management is, which is really creating that strategy for a product or solution and bringing it across the table for an organization. So for me, that's my biggest pet peeve is we are product managers, not project managers, and we're here for a reason.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, Steve, what's a dead product practice that you think we should actually revive?
Let's do this. User stories got corrupted over time. Originally, the original statement was, tell a story about a user to your dev team. And then somebody wrote a formula for it, as a user, I want this feature so I can have this feature I want. And suddenly we're all got turned into Jira ticket writers and following the, I want whatever. But most of those stories are tasks, or at best, they are feature requests. Yep. And way back in time, the first time I met a product manager was in 1982, I want to say. And her job was the business of the product. She was writing what the product needs, what problems the product needs to solve. And here we are, what is that, 50 years later, and well, 40 years later ish. And we're still struggling with this requirement, user story, feature statement thing. And we're missing the business role of product management. And I've been writing about that for quite a while. Many years ago, I wrote the strategic role for product management while I was at Pragmatic. Last year, I rewrote it for Agile because I think in many ways, Agile has broken product management.
Yep. So is it dead?
Product management is not dead. I do believe that I don't believe that AI is going to replace product management, but I do believe that an AI-empowered product manager is going to replace a non-AI-powered product manager.
Certainly.
And certainly a product manager who doesn't represent the customer and the market will not do well in the future.
Yep. Anything to add on that, Teresa? Is product, going back to Dave's main point in his article and kind of his main thesis. I forgot to circle back around to that on you. What did you have to add there?
Yeah, I agree with Steve. I don't think product management is dead. I think it's really something that's being talked about though, especially with AI. Is AI going to replace product management? And I agree. I mean, I think that AI is a tool that you need to be able to enhance and move even faster. In fact, I have teams that are even writing code using Claude. So I think it doesn't just fall short to the product manager, but in technology, we need to be embracing AI to become more efficient. But at the end of the day, it's our decision for what we're making to make sure our products are successful. And AI doesn't know business that well. It's going to recommend everything you do. It's overly positive, and it's going to tell you you have a great idea that's going to, go great into the market. So you need to be that business leader to be able to decipher that. And I think because of that, product management is thriving, and it's really becoming and evolving and becoming more focused on what it truly is, which is a strategic role that allows you to decipher how to succeed as a business with your product or solution.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump over to James. James, okay, before you get into your take on this, be honest. You're a data guy. Have you ever used a dashboard to win an argument about process?
Not to win an argument about process, but I have used the dashboard to set the foundation to then talk about what needs to happen from a process perspective. So I definitely do lean into data, clearly. And I lean into data with respect to my arguments. But before I was mostly in data, I was principal and senior product manager at a number of other companies. So working on the feature side, and really, I have maybe an interesting semi-hot take. I don't know. Let's go. I think product management is dead at companies that don't care about their users. And that's the key part, right? If a company is identifying what features, what their innovation, what their long-term strategy, what their vision is, based upon competition, based upon a piece of technology, building a better mousetrap, they don't need product managers. And now they feel they can get that type of view from an engineering team using AI. And good luck to them, right? And I would say that's good luck to them. It's going to get harder to really the private equity money, the easy escapes, the going public. That's going away, and that's really gone. It's been much of a struggle. So if you're not thinking about your end users, which I won't try to label real versus not real product managers, but that's the first step. That's why you get into product management in the first place, is to think about the end users and think about the value and the benefit you could bring. So if you're at a company, or the company is clearly saying, oh, we just need to be better than this competition, or we need to build a better mousetrap and the people will come, I think then product management at that company is probably dead. But product management as a practice, no, I don't agree that it's dead. In fact, it's just harder. There was an article, I forgot who wrote it, but broke up product management into 4 areas: innovation, feature, platform/technical. I would include data into that, and then growth. And if you are just constantly working on outputs, you're constantly working on a feature farm at a company that doesn't care about its end users, its outlook's not so good. That's what the Magic 8 Ball would probably tell you. But in those other 3 areas where you're clearly need to take users into consideration, I think you plus AI is a perfectly wonderful career path.
That's a great take, and I saw, and I got to jump over here, Jerry, but real quick, I saw this morning, as a matter of fact, I saw a post from John Cutler on LinkedIn where he used AI to write a satirical email going out from a CEO of a fictional company about explaining to his company, to all of his people, that AI is the way of the future. We need to not just embrace AI, but we need to go forward and lead with it. And by the way, we are all expendable. And if you can't explain to me how you're going to replace yourself with AI, then you don't have a job here. It was a scary, very frighteningly written thing that was believable, but was absolutely satire. But it kind of reminds me what you're talking about, because the whole conveyance of the attitude that was being delivered in that email is AI is the thing that we care about. It's nothing to do with anything else but delivering our mission with AI, and everything else is subservient to that. Jerry, so
Yes.
I want your take, but I also want to know, how do you personally stay grounded when the trends say everything is broken?
When the trends say everything is
Like with
broken.
what David's talking about, with what's David stirring the pot with here,
Yeah.
is how do you stay grounded in that?
Um, I don't know if you're going to like my answer, but
I don't have to like your answer. I
I,
just have
I
to like.
typically, I typically don't follow trends, right?
Mhm.
So like David's post about AI and Agile are dead. What, a year or so ago, Airbnb was like, we don't need product managers. We'll get rid of all of
Yeah.
them. Um, uh, even with AI, I mean, you remember when last year and the year before, late the year before, when AI really started trending up, I typically pull back a bit and just gather information and try to avoid the hype cycle.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's typically how I stay grounded. It's just like hey, okay, you think product management's dead. Uh, to James's point, how are you going to connect with your customers? How are you going to ensure that you're delivering value to your market? Because somebody's doing that. And if somebody's doing that, somebody's doing product management. So um, it, it, it's not dead. Um, Although I feel like I've worked for some of the companies James is talking about. I know I know these companies well, right? They latch on to a term uh, or or um, or something about um, some hype and forget about what the essence of it is. Um, I'll never forget, and I still joke about this sometimes when I teach classes. Early on in my career, back in the early 2000s, at version 1, we hired somebody who was out at a customer site, and they came back and they're like, "This customer's not doing Agile." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, they've got all these documents that they're generating, and they've got a release plan, and they've got this." And I'm like, "Nothing says that in Agile you can't have a release plan. Nothing says in Agile you can't have documentation. You just have to be pragmatic about it." So when people say it's dead, it's like, is it dead, or did you just have a bad experience? Because I've had the bad experiences.
Did you have a bad experience, and are some people making some bad calls? And I think we're going to be exploring a lot of that, not only here but in our careers going forward. Steve, you've got an interjection here. Jump on in, buddy.
Just real quick, I liked Jerry's question better than the one you gave me. But how do
Sorry.
you stay grounded through all this noise and nonsense? And the answer is go talk to a customer. I talk to customers every week, and I just hear them facing chaos. They haven't been trained, or they've had training, but it's been agile training or scrum training, so they actually haven't learned product management. And when I start showing them some simple ways of thinking of it, they're like, hallelujah, I see now.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm freaking out about AI or .NET or blockchain or whatever, that's just technology looking for a problem.
Yeah.
And when I talk to customers, I'm always able to hear a problem that they're facing that I can help them with.
Steve, I finally heard this week, because I've thought about this for a while, but I finally heard somebody else say it this week, um, that AI is a solution looking for a problem.
Hmm.
That has occurred to me off and on for years. It's like, well, what problem are you trying to solve with? Like, give me a problem that it can solve and I'll use it. But don't give me a problem that a simple algorithm will solve and tell me I have to go use AI for it, because
Right.
the algorithm got it.
And I have way too many AIs trying to help me write a blog post. It's like, you know what? Leave the creative to me. I don't need yet more AI generated pablum out on the website.
Yeah,
No doubt.
exactly.
So before we switch over to some kind of getting out to the rest of the folks here on the call, and we have got a great start to today. Teresa, any last words before you need to jump?
No, I thought that was some great question follow up to that. I think that the impact of AI is just like an everyday topic for us. I was just on a podcast talking about yesterday, and one of the questions that come up was, what else will AI kind of start to replace the voice of the customer? And I know you guys were talking about customers as well, and they were talking about how they don't even build personas or jobs to be done at all. They're using AI completely for that, and they were getting my thoughts on that. And they were a startup, so that makes a lot of sense. But I think that's really interesting, right? Like, we talk about solving problems in product. We talk about hearing the voice of the customer, talking with as many customers as we can. Is that going to replace talking to customers? And it sounds like companies are already doing that. So instead of listening to customers, they're listening to AI. And that's incredibly scary, from a product management perspective, because you're not actually hearing the voice of the customer. You're hearing a product that has taken a giant wiki of information and, put it together for some simulated humor that you're getting a response to. So kind of keep that in your pocket in terms of staying true to talking to customers to solve your problems is the way to go, not AI, but definitely use it as a toolbox when you need to have some brainstorming is my thought there.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. And kind of tagging on to James's point earlier, if AI is your customer, great, interview AI. I want to welcome you to today's product coffee today. I was having a conversation with some colleagues, and this concept of no code and vibe coding in product management, even more and more companies are using this in their engineering teams. Engineers are using it, and some of the latest tools are really accessible to coders as well. So we wanted to have a really good discussion with some product people who are really thinking about how to bring no-code tools and vibe coding into their own practices and have some real examples. So today we're going to be we're going to kind of take the old Facebook adage of move fast and break things and twist it on its head and talk about moving fast and building things and how this is going to change product management or might change product management. And I want to start